Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 horror movie The Devil's Doorway. And this is a found footage horror movie, or as the tagline says, this is not found footage. It has been suppressed by the Catholic Church for over 58 years. Quite a nice tagline there. And this film basically focuses on two priests, an elderly priest and a very young priest, who are sent to this home in Ireland in 1960 to check on a reported miraculous event. Apparently the statue of Mary has been bleeding out of its eyes, and they're sent to investigate to see if this is a genuine miracle. And this home that they have to go to in 1960 is a home that houses unwanted women in society. Basically, it held prostitutes, orphans, unmarried pregnant women, and people who were disturbed mentally and things like that. So as you can imagine, pretty hard place to live. And they arrive at this home to investigate the miracle, and they don't get a particularly warm welcome from the sister. The elderly priest is pretty convinced it's all fake, because he says he's never seen a miracle and all this kind of stuff. He's basically expecting to prove it's a fraud. And while they're there, strange things start happening. The young priest starts hearing noises at night and seeing spirits and all this kind of stuff. The elderly priest keeps resisting, he's fairly stubborn. Then they discover down in the basement that there's a lady who's pregnant, who may or may not be possessed by some inner demon. And the film basically focuses on these two priests trying to investigate this thing, dealing with the sister and the nuns and all these strange events that are going on around them that continue to escalate. Now, that's all I'm going to say on the story. Now, I'll be honest, going into this movie, I expected nothing from this movie. I genuinely didn't. I'd never heard of it, and I wasn't expecting it to be really that good. And I have to be honest with you guys, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I thought it was really well made. It felt very authentic in regards to being set in 1960. I believed the characters, and at times it is genuinely frightening, this movie. And I'm genuinely frightening. The main criticism I can throw at this movie is it's a bit messy, and by that I mean two things. It's a found footage movie, so occasionally, you know what happens with found footage movies, cameras are going everywhere and it gets a bit nauseating and confusing. That part of it's messy, but also it's a bit messy in its approach to horror, in a sense of you've got spirits charging about, you've got, all these strange noises going off, you've got statues breaking, you've got all this paranormal stuff going off, which is a horror movie in itself. But then you've got this woman in the cellar who is seemingly possessed, so you're not really sure, is this a possession movie, is it a paranormal movie? And then it also goes into like devil worshipping and all this kind of stuff, and it's like there's all this stuff thrust into this movie. And I think they do actually a very good job to try and make it all work, because this movie is just over 70 minutes long. It's a very short movie, and it needed to be at least another 15-20 minutes long, this movie, to try and let this movie breathe a bit, to let the audience members breathe a bit, to add a little bit of explanation in here and there, a bit of investigation as to what's going on. It all felt a bit messy and a bit rushed at times. So as an audience member, it kind of works because you're kind of gripped and you're in there with them, but it never really allows you to come up for air very often. So that's my main criticism with this movie. It needed to be a little bit longer, needed to breathe a bit, and it was a little bit messy in its approach to the horror elements that it adds into the movie. But I still say that I do think they did a really good job of trying to make it all work. because the characters I felt were all believable. All the performances were were very good. I thought the elderly priest played this grizzled veteran of a priest who's, you can see he's, you know, pretty enthusiastic about it all initially, and you can, he gives quite a interesting performance. But yes, I have to say, guys, if you're a fan of found footage movies, this is an interesting one. It's, you know, like I say, it feels very authentic with the technology they use and everything. They're using all authentic cameras, and the location. I'm presuming it's in Ireland that they filmed this. It felt very authentic and real. At this asylum that they were filming it, well, it's not really an asylum, but a home, I suppose. That it felt like an asylum. Was very foreboding and old and creaky, and it triggered a lot of scary moments. It really did. But like I say, it just didn't know if it wanted to be what kind of horror movie it wanted to be. I think it tried to do a little bit too much. But there are some pretty shocking moments in the movie. It gets a little bit Blair Witch by the end, and when you watch the movie you'll kind of know what I mean by that. But pretty effective horror movie, this one, guys. I have to say, I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. It's quite short, so like I say, it's just over 70 minutes long. Easy to watch. If you like horror movies, there's plenty of nice little scares here. There's no cheap scares, I would say. It's nicely written, it's nicely directed. And I would have to give this a pretty strong 7 out of 10, guys. I had a good time watching this movie, and I genuinely didn't expect to. So if you're looking for a horror movie similar to the lines that I've spoken about, this is definitely one to check out, guys. The Devil's Doorway. So thank you very much for watching.